Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to the shop. So it is a very overcast and rainy day here at the shop, and on top of that, it's a lot cooler than what it has been. Currently sitting around upper 60s, I believe, which is such a nice break from the 90s that we've had going on for what feels like forever now. And days like today, they really motivate me, and more specifically the cold weather. If you didn't know, fall and winter time are my favorite times of the year. Give me a 30-degree day when it's rainy and snowy, get the wood stove going, and I'll be the most creative person you've ever seen. And so even though we are still a month off from fall, I don't want to rush my life away, but I've sort of got that feeling. I'm feeling very motivated and inspired today, and I want to take advantage of that. So while I melt the bowl blanks that I'll be turning today, let me explain a little bit more about what I had in mind. If you've been following me this year, you'll know that I've mentioned multiple times about wanting to create a cohesive body of work, and that has been a goal of mine for quite some time. Now, yesterday was similar to today, and I was feeling just as inspired, so I finally decided to explore a design that I've come across. It's based off of old Roman ceramics. Best way to describe it is sort of a honeypot cauldron style bowl where the bottom rounds out, kind of tapers back in, and then has sort of a lip at the top. So yesterday I turned two natural edge bowls using this design in mind, and really love the way it turned out. So after this, I'll show you the two bowls that I turned yesterday, because I think showing you the design will probably give you a better idea of what I'm talking about rather than just trying to explain it. Now, the reason why this is important to me is because last week I finally launched my website, and again, if you've been following along, you'll know that that is a huge goal that I was able to finally check off. But the reason why I bring that up is because the collection, the body of work that I used for my first shop launch, there was no rhyme or reason to why I included a piece. It was just work that I was proud of and that I turned throughout the year. However, now that I finally have my website, my next big goal is to finally do this cohesive body of work, and by the end of the year, have a shop update, a shop launch that is dedicated to just this specific body of work. And with this design, I feel like I'm on to something. So here are the two bowls that I have been referring to, and as you can tell by the style that I was trying to describe, how it rounds out here at the bottom, then has this slight taper inwards, and then has a subtle flare back out. Nothing too exaggerated, which I really like this sort of clean, minimal look about it. And I think it works really well with the natural edge. And I've done this bowl, or this style of bowl, in a traditional style before, where the rim's just flat before. But to my knowledge, I can't think of a time I've ever done it for a natural edge bowl. And I really like the way it looks, which is why I want to explore this a little bit more. And here are the two blanks we'll be turning today to go with these other two bowls. As you can tell, they're very similar in shape and size. So the variety of the overall design won't be anything too crazy, but we're going to mess around with that and see what we can come up with. I'm excited either way. Again, this is more experimenting to see if I want to pursue something like this even further, because I think it'd be fun to do something taller, something bigger. Who knows? We will see. And then also, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but the part of my brain thinks of, if I create a body of work, how fun it would be to create a YouTube series on top of that, to where I come up with the body of work, and then each episode, or part of that series, is me turning one of the pieces for the work. And then at the end of it, it all comes together. We'll do a big video on the website launch, and then also could talk about the photography side of things, the website, the pricing, all of that side of stuff. I'm getting way ahead of myself, but that's where my brain goes to if I can come up with something like this. But first, I've actually got to come up with my very first body of work before we get that far ahead. But anyways, like I said, I'm excited. These two pieces of maple are very pretty. They've got a little bit of figure, a little bit of spalting, so classic maple. But we're going to start with this one here. So let me quit my talking. Let's get it on the lathe and let's see what we come up with. Well, y'all, the outside is done, and I have to say, I absolutely love the way this is turning out so far. And honestly, I feel like it's been a while since I've been able to say that. The YouTube streak of me turning something up front and then not necessarily being happy with it, I feel like I've done that a lot more often lately, and I feel like it's the first time in a while I can say I really like the way this is turning out. So happy with that. But who knew when you force yourself to slow down and take your time that it'll pay off, because up front there I was rushing through it for whatever reason, and I just could not get the portions correct, more specifically down to here towards the bottom. I just couldn't figure out, get it right the way I wanted it. Forced myself to stop, take a breather, slow down, and then really finesse each section of the bowl, and I'm just glad I did, because I absolutely love the way this looks. And it's got me curious about wanting to do some other sizes of this design as well. Of course, my mind goes to a nice big bowl, something about 8 inches tall, 18 inches wide, something like that. I think that would look really pretty with this style. And then also a taller vessel, something about 12 inches tall. I'd be curious. So if you'd like to see those videos, let me know in the comments below. But anywho, let's move on to the next one, because I'm really excited to see how that one's going to turn out as well. I'm going to go on and just do the outside of both of them, and then once I do that, that's when I'll flip them around and we'll just hollow out the insides all at once. So anyways, since the next bowl is sort of the same process, I'm just going to kind of breeze through that. So y'all just enjoy the sounds of the shop. All right, second one is done. There's a little nub here on the bottom, so it won't sit flat. That will be turned away. Overall, the process went fairly smooth. It did give me a little bit of frustration again in the beginning, but like this one, I slowed down and I finally got the overall design correct, or the way I wanted it. But however, now I'm seeing them all as one like this. There is one thing I wish I could go back and do differently, and that is to start with a different size bowl blanks for these two specifically. Because the whole goal of why I wanted to turn these two this morning was to get a variety of shapes when judging this design. And now that they're all similar in size, there's no variety. They all look pretty similar. And don't get me wrong, I love them. I really love the way they look. However, I probably want to go back and, like I said earlier, turn something bigger and taller, just so I can judge this overall shape a little bit better. But either way, love them. I'm happy with them. I'm excited to see them kind of all as one collection here at the end. But speaking of that, we'll start with this one. I'm going to hollow them out both in one fell swoop as far as video goes, but I'm going to start with this one here. And then once I'm done hollowing these bowls out, I will put the jam chuck on the lathe and then flip them around and turn the tenon down to a number 2 size. It's currently got a number 3. And the reason why is because for my decorative bowls here, I've been doing a smaller footprint on the bottom, or smaller foot on the bottom. And that's easier to do when the wood is still wet, because it's not warped or anything like that. And so I'll go in and do that. And then also, since it is wet wood, getting rid of the giant mass down here on the bottom and just turning it down to a number 2 size here, it really helps get rid of all that wood that could potentially crack, and helps alleviate that in the future. So I'll show more of that once I get to that point. But anyways, let's get this thing on the lathe and let's get these things done. All right, y'all, well, the 2 bowls are done, and seeing them sit here with the rest of the crew finished and ready to be dried, I love it. I absolutely do. It's just, I don't know what it is about this, but it really is just so inspiring for me to see a bunch of work like this, similar in design. I don't know what it is about it, but I really do love it. I think they turned out fantastic, but I still do stick to my word that I wish I would have given myself some variation in the bowl blank size this morning. It would have given me a little bit more variety, but it is what it is. I really do love it, and of course I'm going to go back and turn a few more just to give myself that variety like I'm looking for. And I will say, this won't be my first official collection. Just look at this from a painter's perspective. This is more of a study, plein air study, if you will, of just trying to finesse and figure out a design that I like. I really like this design, and honestly, it very well could be my very first collection. Not these specifically, but this design itself. You know, just I'm practicing right now, trying to finesse it, because when I do my first official collection, or I'm gonna be professional, when I do my first official Andrew McCarr collection, every piece that I put on the lathe, I want to be intentional with it. I want to have a purpose. So when I go to turn, I'm not sitting here having to force myself to slow down and finesse each and every cut. I want to know what I'm going to be taking off and, you know, and how it's going to be shaped up front. And of course, I'll have to still slow down when doing that, but you know what I mean. But either way, like I said, that doesn't take away from how happy I am with these so far. So anyways, though, I'm gonna get cleaned up, get these put away for drying. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. And down in the comments, of course, let me know what you think so far. Let me know what you think of this design, these bowls. I'd be curious to know your thoughts. And on a side note, let me know what you think of this video. It's definitely more of a vlog video, or I guess a vlog in itself. I'm trying to get to the habit of where I don't have to announce that it's a vlog. I kind of want them just to flow in with my other videos, but let me know what you think. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please be sure to subscribe. So anyways, guys, I'll see y'all next time.